Hi, this is Randy Finney with Right Side of the Chart, and today is Monday, November 15th, 2021. It's 9:12 Eastern Time as I'm starting the video, so we have a little over 15 minutes to go before the market opens. So there's just so many things I'm seeing right now. I wanted to get a video out to you guys. So this will be published shortly after the market opens. And what I'm going to do is an update on the equity markets, gold and silver, real quick, because those I've been really active on updating those, and then just run through. I have just a whole bunch of individual stock trade ideas, and I want to do an update on the cannabis stocks. So we'll do in that order: the markets, gold, silver, quick update on the cannabis stocks, which I very much like right now, and then roll into some individual trade ideas. Okay, as far as the equity markets go, I update those every day because that is the stock market. If you can kind of gauge the overall ebb and flow, or the tides, if you will, of the market, then it helps to align your other trades. In other words, in a correction in the stock market, short trades on individual stocks are going to play out better. They're more likely to hit their targets. Breakdowns are more likely to stick. Vice versa, if the market's rallying, then you want to favor individual long stocks. But I like to trade long short, especially when the charts aren't clear. Or I also like to diversify among various asset classes. Stocks are only one asset class. Commodities are another asset class. Fixed income or bonds are yet another. Crypto could be considered its own now, et cetera, et cetera. So you have a lot of different things there. Okay, quick update on the markets. Nothing has changed, but remember, on the targets, we have a sell signal from last week, and my targets right now are probably about the shallowest pullback targets that I've ever had on the equity markets. And again, not to say that we can't go down more. There's a potential for more downside, but looking here at this daily chart. And by the way, guys, as I go through the video, when I have charts up in pre-market, if you see white candles, then I have the pre-market trades turned on. So this is really where QQQ closed yesterday, this green candle, and this is where we're at right now. So there it is. So the sell signal's still intact, but it's just we're kind of again, the downside targets are minimal, and I still maintain the sell signals in equity markets and still think that warrants some short exposure there. But there's a lot more profit potential in some of these individual trade ideas I'm about to get into. So keep that in mind. 60-minute chart. Okay, I just showed you that was a daily chart, by the way. And so there's our breakdown, pretty impulsive, maybe some flagging action, and that might take us down here at about 382.80 on the daily chart, which would be the first target on the daily time frame, and then about 373.14, 60-minute chart. See, we got that wedge overshoot scenario I was talking about so far, but it's not playing out ideally. It's a little bit atypical. The wedge overshoot talking about right here, where we popped up. We still had divergence at this recent high. We still had divergence, but I left the wedge line there. And as I said, ideally, when what I've seen in the past on wedge overshoots, are coming down, it's pretty impulsive. And that's what it was up until that point there. What was that, Wednesday? But then we started to rally up, and then we're up a little bit in pre-market. But again, the opening bell can happen, and we can come down quick. I just want to say, it is playing out. The sell signal is still very much intact. I still maintain these targets, but again, I think it's good idea as always to diversify and spread it out. And this one, like any trade, either works out or it doesn't. So let's not spend too much more time on the equity markets. We'll see where we close today. Levels to watch: that 16,290.50-ish resistance on NQ. This is the Nasdaq 100 future 60-minute chart. There's our breakdown. Sell signal still intact. And I'll say it. Well, this is an objective short entry right here. We're just below that 16,290.56, with a little bit to go before the opening bell. And of course, these are your Globex futures, so they're showing the round-the-clock trades. And there's a trend line down off the highs right there. So if we reverse, we have 1, 2, or will have 3, and that third and confirming reaction right there. So that's it. It's simple. Take a shot here, absolutely objective, with a stop. Even keep a tight stop above the 16,290-ish level right there. Even for a quick pullback trade at the minimum. But these are still my targets on NQ. This is where I think we're going. So nothing's changed, but it will start to change if we go up much higher. Like I said, the divergence will still be intact, so I don't think we're going to explode higher. If we do make a marginal new high, I think that's all it will be. That's the history of this market, or at least the MO for months now. Make a marginal new high, and then a correction sets in. So that's it. So longer term swing traders can give it a little more room, and active traders could certainly take a shot here at a short or add on and swing down to any or all these targets. That's the large caps, at least via QQQ. Pretty much same story on the S&P 500, and then let me show you the small caps real quick. If I can find it here, I've got RTY somewhere down on all my charts. RTY, there it is. Only thing I've done to this chart this morning, I added a trend line right here, a new trend line. But this was a trend line that gave us a sell signal most recently. You had negative divergence right there, divergent high, overbought readings, and we've been moving lower. And I think the next wave of selling will come if and when, or more likely when, this trend line is taken out. Whether we bounce up, put in a marginal new high, keep those divergences intact, which any marginal new high soon will be guaranteed to have the divergence still intact, or we break down now. Either way, next target's 2341-ish right there, and then this uptrend line. So really no change as of now, other than to watch this little trend line, which is acting as support recently, and look for a break of that. Okay, I've been on the gold and silver and the mining stock trades like white on rice lately. A lot of updates. Recently broke out that 1838-ish resistance level, which was very significant. However, one thing I'm not liking is sentiment. All of a sudden, they weren't talking about gold, or those that were in the headlines. I'm talking about mainstream media, the financial media, pretty much bearish on it. And now all of a sudden we had some hot inflation numbers. Gold had a big move, one of the strongest moves in many months. But now I'm reading in the journal today, a lot of analysts coming out telling their clients to increase their holdings in gold. So they're getting a little bit bullish too fast. I don't like that. I like to be on the contrarian side of the trade, because by the time the masses start to buy, that's usually when you get your first pullback. So look, let me just be very clear. I'm still intermediate and longer term bullish on gold. That hasn't changed. And long, but for those of you that aren't in gold, or if you're thinking about adding, you might want to wait for a pullback here. I'm just, again, not liking how quick sentiment got bullish after that big run over last week or so. Maybe a little too much too fast. And there's some potential minor divergences right here. And that could give us a pullback to that 1838-ish level, which of course would provide an objective entry. If we do get it, we may not. The breakout may stick, and we can continue to walk higher. So, for longer term or regular swing and trend traders, I wouldn't worry about trying to game that. But if you do get the pullback, and again, I talked about this, I would certainly allow for a drop below that level. That's what the markets do. They try to fake out the masses. There'd be a lot of stops below 1837, 1838, and they may want to run those stops and then run it up. Give it some room. Really like to see any pullback. Ideally should be contained by that 1809-ish, or call it 1800 level in gold. But other than that, still bullish and still may continue up here. Could burn through these divergences. And the same story on silver. Silver's for the most part going to follow gold, and also has a comparable uptrend line. By the way, these were 2-hour candlestick charts I just showed you on gold and silver futures. All right, let's move on to the cannabis stocks. All right, I'm not going to go through each and every one. I just want to say that, as you know, on Friday, I really like that sector. Got a bunch of trade ideas out to you. And so far, now look, the day hasn't even, not only is the day not over, it technically hasn't begun, at least not officially, with the opening bell. But I'm seeing a lot of the, let me grab the ones I was highlighting. A lot of my, the stocks I highlighted, some of my top picks, moving up today in pre-market. Tilray, I think it was up 9% or so on Friday, or close to 10. Is up another in pre-market 4.5%. You can see almost touching that next target there, 13. I'll call it $14, but 13.95, so a little shy of 14. It's still looking good, and these guys have just broken out again. If you missed that video, I encourage you, because right now, as far as gain potential, this sector dwarfs what any gain potential in the stock market is if you're shorting. Now, in the stock market, you can obviously take a much larger position because if you go long or short the Nasdaq 100, you have a diversified basket of 100 stocks. You're not going to get wiped out if any one of them has some surprise announcement or earnings miss or whatever, or beat. But on these, you got to take a shotgun approach. I've talked about that many times. Scatter, that's what I did. Start building positions, and today I'll most likely add to those positions, especially if these pre-market gains stick. So that's it. I just wanted to mention one of my favorite sectors, CGC, Canopy Growth. Beautiful breakout on Friday above 1448. Followed through so far today. Across the board, I have them all up in pre-market. Chronos heading up here, going to hit that 668 again most likely, and I think this one at minimum will go to 704. That's where I'm interested in gaming a pullback, taking some profits just below $7, and so forth and so on. So again, watch that video. ACB, just beautiful patterns. Again, this thing's been basing, put a little inverse head and shoulders down here with your left shoulder head, right shoulder, broke out impulsively on Friday, volume, impulsive price action, and follow through so far today. So again, the day isn't over, and technically it hasn't begun. It's only begun in pre-market. So point is, if these pre-market gains stick, and I don't see why they won't. And the charts are really nice, but there are no guarantees. So like anything, carve out the portion of your portfolio you are comfortable with for exposure to the cannabis sector, whether that's 10% or 30 or 40%, and you decide how much. And then I like to diversify within there. And a couple things. There was an ETF. One of our members that pointed out to me the other day after that video, MSOS. That's AdvisorShares Pure U.S. Cannabis ETF. And that had this, small downtrend line, nice divergence, breakout, backtest recently, and you can see here in the pre-market session, it is breaking out above the secondary trend line. And then I found this morning, going through trade ideas earlier today, I found another one. Where is it? Let me find it for you. THCX, another one I wasn't familiar with. I usually cover MJ as the go-to cannabis sector ETF, but here's another one. Spinnaker ETF series, a cannabis ETF. Nice clean downtrend line, big divergence line building there, positive divergence, and look, pre-market breakout. So this is it, guys. This is unless there's some crazy reversal after the open today, that's a go in the pot stocks. And again, some of the highest profit potential. These guys, I don't target 3, 4, 7, 8% pullbacks like I'm looking in the equity markets. I'm targeting, in many cases, double if not triple digit gains in some cases. Right now, let's just say most of these gains we're looking at probably low double digits, 20, 10 to 30, 40% on some of these guys. And I'll continue to update the sector as long as it looks constructive. All right, let's just roll into an eclectic mix of random trade ideas. Keep in mind, when I refer to a stock as a trade idea, there are two types of trade ideas. Actionable trade ideas, that would be something that has already triggered or recently triggered a buy or a sell signal, a buy signal for a long trade, a sell signal for a short trade, by breaking out above support, resistance, a bullish or bearish chart pattern. And then you have a setup. So a setup is something that is set up to make a run but needs to trigger that buy signal or the breakout or breakdown. Again, remember, I'm doing this in the pre-market session. The bell's going to ring in about 4 minutes, so maybe before I wrap the video up. But here's one to watch today. In pre-market, it's breaking out. And again, if it breaks out, here's how you trade this. If it pulls back after the opening bell, you have support, or it was resistance, but now support at 317. Currently, it's trading at 352. You can see right here in white, that's 352. But a solid breakout above this bullish falling wedge pattern, KERN. By the way, guys, sorry if I didn't say it. KERN, Akerna Corp. And these are all the targets, 366, 405, 447. So I can't really tell you right now, where to buy it because I don't know what's gonna happen after the open. But I can tell you, pull back to 317 is objective. And even a back test of the trend line would be objective. But if it opens up too close or doesn't give you an entry, just let it go. Wait for a pullback, and I have no problem. Sometimes I'll miss something. That one's already running pretty much. It's already cleared out what would have been my first target. It actually barely broke out on Friday. I probably wouldn't have taken it with that, especially on the end of close Friday. So I'll just watch it. Anyways, it's a setup. A lot of places can potentially buy this one. You could probably even buy it here at 351. And if you're going to hold out, I think the pattern is going to project up to at least 447. I'll give you a home run target, a longer term target that it could possibly run to, and that's about 524. All right, let's just go on to the next one. KLDO. Kaleido Biosciences. If I pronounce that correctly. Downtrend line right here. This is a setup. See that? It's popping today. It's in pre-market up pretty nice, about 13.5%. There's my divergence line. And so that's a setup. And if I don't already, I think I might have. I'm going to set an alert there for breakout above the trend line. Haven't had time to give you targets. A lot of these I just found today. 530-ish first target if it breaks out. And again, has not yet broken out. And then right up to about 660. And then if it can continue to run, and the pattern would project it up about this high, $8-ish right there. So that's your max target. That'd be, if that $8 target's hit, you're talking about a 65% run. It's a biotech stock. I keep clicking my watch list thing as I'm cycling through, but I'm not doing that. I have to go off a notepad here. These are just names scratched down today. MPLN. That one's testing. Well, actually in pre-market, it tested this downtrend line. You get some RSI divergence. Not one of my favorite, but just one to watch and put on your radar if you like it. Jot it down. I think if it can break out, probably 557 be your first stop. Next one up, KXIN. This is auto truck dealerships. It says. I'm not familiar with the company. Just found it today. Was moving in pre-market, and it's a setup. So you had a downtrend line here that broke out, and this thing, look at that impulsive candle once it broke out, and from there, well, gapped up, but the whole run from low to high was about 120%, and it had positive divergence as well. You can see I marked it down there. This time it actually does as well now. Some positive or bullish divergence building in these indicators down below as it makes this lower lows in price. And you can see it had a false start there, a little intraday pop, but it never closed. Oh, there we go. There's opening bell right at the trend line, and I'm going to set an alert for this one as well. All right, targets. You probably want targets. I'm just kind of forcing this one quick. I may come back and revisit this if it breaks out. First target about 240, and then second target here I think about 273. And again, I may revise these targets for you, but let me just get it out to you. Let me run through the rest so I can get the video to you. CUE, Q Biopharma. Oh, yeah, nice breakout here. What I see on this one is resistance. It actually broke out on Friday. Up a little bit more than I wanted right now. The chase, because it's almost my first target at 1829. Not that I threw it out there or even took it, because I didn't see it till today. So just one to watch. If it pulls back or breaks 1829, I think this one will head up to 2232. This is a pretty powerful breakout. It's been basing below 1583, and again, it broke out Friday. So not actionable now because we're too close to the first target, but I'll update that if it gets us. Pulls back or consolidates, after hitting 1829 or 1830, and then maybe poised for a breakout. I'll give you an update on that. That was CUE. BDSX, next one up. Biodesics, just a potential trend line there. Not crazy. We're not even close to it now, so there's room. That's just a setup. Target would be 1018, and then almost $16 on that one. It's got some work to do. MCHX. This one I have as a short. Every other one I'm showing you is a long. This is not only a trade idea, it's a actionable trade idea, because you had a beautiful uptrend line there. You had a big resistance, double top high here and here, It got rejected off that and went on to break down, impulsive rejection off the last the attempt to break out at that previous high, and then came down, broke the primary uptrend line from below. It's a little flagging action, and it's back testing. So you can short it here. It's objective to short on a back test with a stop somewhat above. Somewhat will depend on where you think it's going. It's a pretty powerful breakdown. I think a stop a little bit above that 315. There's some resistance there would be objective. And targets minimum right there. Minimum target 246. I think it could project for more because if you look at the flagpole, and then if it's flagging here, it's going to take you down a little bit through there. Let me give you a second target. I think 246 is a safe bet to cover, especially if it drops from here and maybe all the way down here to about, I'd say right there, about 224. There it is, max target. So target's 246 and then 224. Cover just a hair above those, whichever one's your preference, because those are the actual support levels where a reaction is likely. That is MCHX, MarchX. LTCN. This one's looking interesting. You know, I'm thinking we're getting toppy on Bitcoin and Ethereum, but who knows? You know, there's a little bit of work to be done there. But look at this. This one has a nice level. This is from Grayscale coin. They're the same ones that have GBTC, which is a Bitcoin trust, one of the first to market ETN type instruments or ETF type instruments. They also have ETHE that I mentioned and ETCG. Those are the two Ethereum and Ethereum 2 ETNs. Same company. And this one has a basing pattern here that's starting to punch above. It had a little whipsaw through there before, and we're testing that level now. So to be safe, you probably want to see that high get taken out. Pretty much where we're at right now. If this one can push up much more, it might run. That's LTCN, Litecoin Trust. Yala, let's see this one. Yala Group. This one was just stair-stepping on the way down. Bear flag 1, bearish pennant 2, bearish pennant 3, and it finally, after getting whacked, this here came out public. This was an IPO back here in October last year. Had a huge run. Ran up from lows after the IPO. Day after, about 550%. Got ahead of itself, but look, the market prices things efficiently. There's where the IPO came out. That first day of trading, there was a low, came back to test that level. So you have to think the market's had enough time to efficiently price this in. So that's a major bottom right there. It's at resistance now. I wish I would have saw it when I break of this downtrend line. I just picked this one up this morning. See, it already hit this 909 target, right? And it had a pullback. And it's been consolidating on it. And it's popping it right now. So I think today, this breakout right here, if it can stick, we're at 926, I think that's going to take us up to 1053 and then 1375. Those would be your targets. So this one, I'll say it's objective here. Keep your stops tight, relatively tight. I mean, relative. What does that mean? Well, if you buy it at 921 and you're targeting 1375, you have a 50% gain if it hit. So you can easily afford to, give it a 10, even 15% stop loss. But if you only want to run it up to 1053, where you're probably going to have your first reaction about 1050, then you want a little bit tighter stop, obviously. AKU, more of a follow-up. This was a trade idea I gave you last week. Broke out above 183, and the breakout still intact. We had closed above it the first day of the breakout, closed above it the second day, some follow-up, and up again today, or flat right now, but again, it's above there, so still objective because we're not far enough away from that level yet. So still objective with a stop somewhat below, up to my targets 210, 230, and then 257. TGTX, I have a question mark by it. Means maybe not so crazy about it. Yeah, oh, well, I actually dropped too much today. Down 10%. Yeah, this is a biotech company. Put in a divergent high recently. See negative divergence there. And it had pretty nice support here at 30.81, but it gapped down below it today and down 9%. Already hit what would have been my first. It's actually below that level now, 29.15. Let's move on. I wouldn't chase that. Too far down to short it. It may bounce back. Probably will close on or above 29.15 today would be my guess, but who knows. Yeah, I'm going to pass on that one. AYRO. This one, just set up. There's your trend line needs a break. There's potential targets, and there's support. It's coming up. So you can either buy it at support here. That's good support at 250. We're at 270 now, so work to be done. So if you can get it down here at 250, great. Buy it with a stop somewhat below, and or on a breakout above the downtrend line. Targets 331, 371, and $4. All right, two more and we are finished. ZME, I made a note. This one looks to be in a potential selling climax. Looks like a relatively new company, probably probably Chinese company. I don't know the company. I just found it today looking at some things that were moving in pre-market. Nice clean downtrend line, bullish falling wedge. Again, not a lot of charting history, but it is diverging. And when you look down, I don't know if you can make it out in the video, there's some pretty big volume bars. First of all, you had this bullish engulfing candle, but then it wasn't followed up with. So that's not a buy signal yet. But it shows the buyers of stepping in, and there's a pretty good volume on this. And again, that's indicative of a potential selling climax. And what it does, it washes out the last of the weak hands, and then so if the stock can break out, bottom line, you need to break out. And if I haven't set a target, I think I already did in pre-market, but let me set an alert here. There it is. So pop above that trend line. I don't have targets for you now, but this one looks like it has a lot of juice. You can buy it at $1.06. I mean, it's $1.66 now. At minimum, I think it would head up to 250 right there, about $2.50, and that would be a 38, almost, oh no, higher than that, 47. Yeah, about a 46% run from where we're at right now. I'll give you an additional target right there, right about 350. So 250, 350, easy numbers, right? All right, last one, INM. Work to be done. This one, there's your downtrend line, but it's diverging right here. You have this bullish or positive divergence. Yeah, a little work to be done. I can't make a strong case to step in right here. I just want to keep on your radar and watch. All right, guys, I'm going to stop it here, get the video out to you guys. Again, yeah, nothing much has changed on the outlook for the markets, but there's more, like in the cannabis stocks now, obviously, and then some of these individual trade ideas that I just gave you. All right, this has been Randy Finney with Right Side of the Chart. Have a great day.